Hello. Okay, class, let's take a look. Now we try to go through is the history of Buddhism. We go to now we are in the Yogacara school. Okay, but before this, let me try to magnify. Okay, Yogacara school, we're in the page here is a 130. Let's see. Okay, in your page, say what is in your page? 130. So correct, correct. 130. It is correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So class, let's take a look. In the Yogacara school, we begin with the source and the writer, the Yogacara orientation, the Yogacara and Madhyamika view of each other, and then now actually we are in the Yogacara Madhyamika view of each other. Now we go to the Yogacara view of the roles and the nature of the consciousness. Okay. So before we begin class, we have to understand that what does it mean yoga chara? If you remember that yoga chara meaning to say is united. Okay. Well, it is a little bit different. It is quite different from the yoga as we know from Hinduism. Well, this is this is one branch of the Mahayana, which is close related to the Savastivada. And the Yogacara school, plus if you remember that it is initiated by Asanka. And according to Asanka, as we know, he traveled up to Tushita under guidance of the Maitreya Buddha and learned the Yogacara. And then he started to initiate the Yogacara school. And Yogacara school famous for mind only, meaning to say that through the meditation experience, the whole world you see, no matter nama rupa, they are created by our mind. Okay, of course, the mind, the definition is not the present mind. You have to really attain to the jhana, and from the jhana, you must be able to go in a very deep to magnify our nama rupa, go to the ultimate truth. And from the ultimate truth, you go to deep, you will notice that actually that we call it as the ultimate truth behind that actually is the mind who is the most fundamental thing. So meaning to say that you can only understand through the jhana, the Yogacara view, but not with our present sensuous view. So let's try to go to see. So this is roughly introduction for that. Okay, and then let me try. Yes, let's take a look. Okay, so in the previous lesson, you see what. Okay, so in the previous lessons, we talked about that Yogacara Madhyamika views of each other. Basically, the difference is the final ultimate goal. Final ultimate goal is Nibbana, or maybe you call as the Buddhahood. Well, for the Yogacara, for the Madhyamika, through the meditation, you go to the final particle, the final part, which appears like a Nibbana, or maybe from science view or perspective, we call it as quantum physics. Finally, you will see that even though the Buddha nature itself is the empty, it is also subject to the emptiness. So this is how the Madhyamika to see it. But for Yogacara, through the experience, if you go the deeper one, you feel the Buddhahood, it is rich of the merit. And then from there, you will find the joyness there, and it is something, we call it still possesses its own entity. That is the major differences. Madhyamika say, finally go to the Buddhahood. The Buddhahood itself should be emptiness, meaning to say it's still subject to the emptiness. But Yogacara say no, it's supposed to having his final entity. That is the difference between these two views. Some people feel scared because after I meditate, I work hard, I go to the Nibbana, and finally I gain nothing. Oh, but Yogacara said, no, you gain something. The Buddhahood itself, with the reach of the virtue, is something. Okay. So now I can ask you, anybody prefer you meditate, finally you go nothing, you work for number one, or you vote number two, you will still feel some entity finally. Which one you choose? Finally, the Nibbana. Okay, Samantha, number two. Meiji, two. Sally, close to the camera. Sally, two or so. Elena, one. Mr. Leong, one or two. No idea. Okay, so you see, most of you are vote number two, meaning to say that people feel safer. I get something after meditation. Elena is exception. So finally, still get nothing. I feel good. Okay, so this is the differences between of them. So now we go to the new section. Now I see, Madhyamika Yogacara preserving the Buddhist middle way. One is for Yogacara, they see Madhyamika as nihilism. Everything is unreal. Okay, so this is the Yogacara criticize the Madhyamika as nihilism because finally you attain to the nothing. Okay, so that's a different. So Yogacara emphasized on how the experience world was a mental construct according to the Madhyamika idea that things were empty. See, how the experience world was a mental construct. A class, the mental construct, we have two ways to interpret it. Number one is the world is construct. It's in your brain. Whatever world you see is which is constructed by your brain, which is constructed by your mind. Number one. Second is to go to the microscopic world. Then you will notice that the different whole world is constructed by the mind. So there could be two ways to interpret it. Okay, yes. Then finally we go to deeper again and say okay, then for them, one who cannot get beyond words and theory is like someone who mistake a fingertip for a thing that is pointing at, such at the moon. This is the use as the analogy you try to pinpoint. So Yogacara said that for yoga for the Madhyamika, he said that I use a finger to pinpoint something, just like I use the text to pinpoint the nibbana. So you should attach to the text. You have to understand that the text behind is pointing at the nibbana. So that one you should finally let go all the label, so that directly you attain to the truth. So this is we stop in the previous lesson. Okay, we proceed the Yogacara view of the role and the nature of consciousness. Samantha, please can you read the passage? On the mic, please, Samantha.
Starting from in previous, is it?
Yes, please.
In previous Abhidhamma, consciousness or citta, thought, mind, heart, was seen to be of 7 types. Consciousness related to each of the 5 physical senses, mind consciousness and mind organ, with the latter possessing the input from the senses, often in a way skewed by the I am conceit. Manas was seen by the Yogacaras as a process of subliminal thought, which organized data from the 6 consciousness into the experience of a meaningful world. According to said category, it contains the basis both for correct judgments and misperception of reality, and for both skillful and unskillful karma, which are generated by volitions accompanying the 6 consciousness. As a basis for misperceptions, it is called Kusta Manas, Difa or afflicted mind. As in earlier Abhidhamma, each instance of a type of citta is seen as a momentary event, accompanied by an appropriate collection of mental states. Manas and the 6 consciousness represent only the surface of the mind, which is active and oriented towards objects. There is, though, an additional 8th form of consciousness, which is the asraya, or basis of the rest. It is their fundamental root, devoid of purposive activity and only indistinctly aware of objects. It is an underlying unconscious level of mind known as alaya vijnana, the storehouse consciousness. The Lankavatara Sutra sees the seven active consciousness as related from it, but are simply perturbations in it. These perturbations do not affect the ever still depths of the ocean like alaya, though body. Asanga equates the alaya with what the Mahayana Abhidhamma Sutra calls the realm without beginning in time, which is the common basis of all dhammas. It is similar to the Theravadin Bhavanga consciousness, except that the alaya is seen to be simultaneous with the other forms of consciousness, while Bhavanga is intermittent resting state of mind consciousness.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, well, it is good that the author integrated the Bhavanga with Alaya. So simple for us to understand it. Okay. Okay, let's try to highlight how. Okay. Yeah, raise hand, please, once you finish. Okay, finish class. Sabi, finish. Okay, yeah. So class, let's take a look. So before we begin, well, it is good we understand what is the meaning of the manas for today. Class, let's take a look. In order to make it easy to understand, we have to use the brain nowadays. Okay, class. Okay, according to the Yogacara Bhumi, he mentioned that we possess six consciousness. Okay, after six consciousness, we got seven consciousness, and then lastly we got the eight consciousness. So class, from here we understand that this is our six consciousness. You see, we got five. So meaning to say that each one of the tongue, eye, ear, nose, and skin, all they are related to the different part of the brain, so that we understand the message once we are using different faculty. But once the message reach to the specific part of the brain, you still need to give it the meanings. In the very beginning, we need to interpret it. Okay, what does that mean for it? Okay, for example, class. Okay, you see a pen. Okay, well, according to present, the pen it linked to the occipital lobe. So class, you try to touch at the back part of the brain. Okay, so class, you see, this is the occipital lobe. Okay, so meaning to say, when I see the pen, so it will reflect at the back of the brain in the first place. So when you reach to at the back of the brain, then second stage, what you try to do is this, see? Okay, so our brain, the prefrontal cortex here, we try to interpret what is the brain is. Basically, it takes time for the pen. Once we see the pen, then before we know that it is pen, in our brain, it's very fast to process that this is something long with the blue color, and also finally, it is called pen. Okay, well, for Abhidhamma, we call it as a connective process. So we take very, very fast and take many times so that the perception of the pen appears. Okay, then once the pen appeared already, then now second is maybe you start to relate. Oh, this is during my childhood I'm so poor so the pen have some different meaning for me. Okay, you may think about that. Okay, then you start to cry already. Why? Because the pen are so difficult. It's so meaningful. You see, then for this after this, then this memory, you start crying, you will store back to your consciousness again. That's what we call as storage consciousness. It will store back again. So in nowadays, the science is supposed to be the part is inside. We call it as the amygdala or the hippocampus. So class is this part of the brain. Amygdala and also the hippocampus involved. Then plus this is the part. Right? I see that here is the amygdala, and then this is like a horse. This is a hippocampus. So because I try to make it concrete for you to understand, meaning to say that after the brain, we start to understand it. We give the information to it. That one we call it as what? The seven consciousness. The seven, number seven, one. So keep on interpreting, give different meaning. What is it about? It's the six and the seven. Usually seven, we give her the perception that this is I. The pen belongs to me. So it's the sixth one. And the seventh one is still not go to the very deep of the brain yet. And then it go to the eight consciousness is very deep in the brain. Okay, but anyway, class, remember that alaya consciousness doesn't mean that part. I try to make it concrete and explain only. Because during the reincarnation, we don't carry our brain for reincarnation. Right or not? But the memory, whole things will goes together, or the consciousness will go together. But I think because each one of the consciousness, they need the faculty for the manifestation. So the more closest way I go to compare the science, the brain, neurologists, and our Buddhism, that is the part related to us. Okay, so that's why once people get the dementia, why they start to forget all the present and the long-term memory they still remember is because the rotting of the brain it begins from the outer part first. So finally it go very deep. Then the child memory you even forget, and then you forget the whole thing. So this is the easy ways for us to understand. Okay, then secondly, when we talk about the manas, actually this is close to the Abhidhamma because the development of the consciousness is only happened in the Mahayana, especially in the northwest India. In Theravada, because they live, remember class, Theravada, they themselves, they live the Indian continent in a quite early stage. It's about 2nd century, they're living already. Class, so this is the one. 3rd century, before 3rd century, they are living Indians and moved to the Sri Lanka. So, meaning to say that the development of the eight consciousness is about to 3rd to 4th century in India is about in this part. So Theravada, they don't have the opportunity to gather this type of information before they depart to the Sri Lanka. So this is how we understand this type of the theory. So we understand why they don't have the Mahayana, this type of the eight consciousness. They only develop until to the Bhavanga only. So according to the Abhidhamma, they say what does mean the Bhavanga? What's the difference between the Bhavanga and also the eight consciousness? Is that Bhavanga meaning to say that when your mind stop class, when you go to the very deep sleep and you sleep like a dying person, the Bhavanga is still working. Is still working to ensure that you are still sustained. Okay. So for nowadays, is the Bhavanga very close one is the stem brain. The way we see it, the closest one is the stem brain. Because the stem brain never stop. Even though all different part of the brain they stop working, even though you don't have any dream, see or not. So we can believe Bhavanga is closest, is maybe it's the stem brain, this part. And then once the stem brain die, we declare, medically die, then it's the death consciousness. So this is how we try to relate. But you say that, but for this, Yogacara school, that for them, the eight consciousness at the same time it works together with the different part of the brain. I think same nowadays, because all the faculty when they start working, when they gather the information, like just now I say, I feel very sad. Okay, so next time I want to donate all this pen I will give the pen to whoever I see. Okay, so once you decide this, then where is this decision put down? Is go to the eight consciousness, as we say, is in the hippocampus and amygdala. So later on, once you see the pen, I remember, I want to buy 1,000. So I give Sally, I give Elena, I give everybody. So this is how the brain and our faculty react to each other. See, so this is a simple science way to understand. Now we go back to the original text. Okay. So just now, what does that mean? You see, number one, okay, classic here. Before I proceed, we have to understand that the manas actually in here is equivalent to the Abhidhamma. Class, can you bring out your Abhidhamma textbooks? Your Abhidhamma textbook, can you bring it out? Okay, if you got. If you don't have, never mind, you just take a look to the diagram here. Okay, class, take a look. So this is the Abhidhamma. Now we go to the list of the table. Okay, once we talk about, let's see first, the manas. Oh yes, the 5 cognitive process, class. It's in the chapter number 4. Okay. So we want to the very great object process. Okay. So please go to this. Okay. This diagram. Okay. Page 155, please. Okay. List of the table. Page 155. So class, let's take a look. So this is what we try to mention about. Okay, you see class. Okay, here from here we will see is the number 1. Okay, you see a class. This is the bhavanga here, not stream of bhavanga, past bhavanga, vibration bhavanga. As we said that when you go very deep sleep, you are in the bhavanga state. So all the faculty assume stop working, including stop dreaming. Then when you hear some sound, class, you see arrest bhavanga. You start to alert. But before alert, there must be 5 door everything, meaning to say that you start to hearing the sound, so the bhavanga must be arrest, and then it comes to the ear door everything. Then the ear consciousness arises. Okay, so class, take a look. This is how the ear consciousness arises. You see, the ear, you start to wake up already. The ear consciousness start to arise. Okay, once the ear consciousness start to arise, then you start to have a receiving, investigating, and determining. So class, this we call as the manas. From the receiving in Abhidhamma, receiving and investigating is called, it's supposed to be investigating and the determining, both is called as the manas. Manas. So they are not very deep in the brain to play the function. Until the jhana, this one is the very deep in the brain. So meaning to say that class, we'll make an assumption here. You see, okay, you hear the sound, okay, so here the auditory cortex, it received the message. Okay, so now the prefrontal cortex, they try to interact, but superficially, the object, the sound you hear, you just roughly know it's something only. Okay, because you start to wake up. Okay, then later on, when you wake up already very clear, oh, this is the music, this is a symphony. You understand very well. So meaning to say that the jhana took place already. Meaning to say the very deep part of the brain play the roles already. Meaning to say the manas, scientifically, maybe it's haven't go to the deep of the brain yet, but start the prefrontal cortex to communicate with our nerve in the brain already. It start to communicating, so you roughly know. So we call it as investigating and the what is this? So class, you can write it down. But this is the deduction from investigating and determining. So both we call it as manas. Let me see first. 五门转向wait 五门转向意界就是领受跟推意界意界是什么？意界是领受跟确定。意界意界异世界，异世界是这个推动。Okay, sorry class. Okay, I remember Chinese. Manas basically is the receiving. Okay, class is the receiving and the investigating. So roughly this part 6 and the 7, we call it as the manas. Okay, so this is after the consciousness. Okay, after the consciousness. So class, you see, so meaning to say that after the consciousness, okay, eye consciousness, it have to go to the brain first. Then the manas start to take place. Then later on, it go deeper already. So which part of the brain? I just roughly. I hope I make it concrete then you can understand better. For thousands of years, we learn this alaya consciousness. We always in a very abstract way. So I think maybe people just think the way as they like. So we pass this type of information from one generation to another generation in a very unconcrete and undefined which part of the brain. So I hope I can help you. You can understand better. Okay, class. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, we go back to this alaya consciousness. So let's take a look. You see, what does it mean consciousness? Chitta was seen to be of 7 types. 7 types, which 7? So it's about the 5 physical senses, mind consciousness, and the mind organ. So you see the mind organ, Sanskrit we call it as the manas. Okay, Chinese 第七识, 意识. So you see this one, the later one, this one's the mind organ, always skewed by the I am considered. Why we have the perception of our I is because of the number 7 consciousness. The seven consciousness. So always we have feel that, oh, I exist. Okay. But anyway, I think actually some people got stroke also will experience certain thing. You see, if we got the brain damage due to the stroke, and then we always feel that the I, it doesn't exist. Do you think it is a good? Or maybe stroke until the time and the space spoil already, or because we know this part is the time and the space is spoiled already. Well, during the meditation, we also hope that we lost time and the space. We don't have the perception of the I during the vipassana. But if happened during the stroke, it is good. The stroke make it happen, not during the vipassana and samatha. What do you think? Our best student, Mr. Leong, what do you think? It is good.
C4, it is neither good nor bad because I think it is a condition, a cause and condition that creates the situation.
Okay, how about Elena? If that's the case, Elena, would you like to try to have a stroke so that you lost the time and the space and lost the self? Would you like? You hope stroke come because samatha vipassana too tough. Let the stroke make me happen. You think it is correct, Miss Elena? No, right? Okay. How about Sally? Not good, right? Okay. If through the samatha vipassana, you think it's good through the samatha vipassana, it's good, right? If you experience that through samatha vipassana, it's good. But if by stroke, not good. Why? The reason is, class, okay, during samadhi or the vipassana, we lost our time and space concept. We don't have the perception of I. It's during we are in the samatha. But once we come out from the jhana, okay, we are in the conventional truth. So you become a normal people and talk with the normal people. What time I will be coming, okay, and I will come to your house location 7 p.m. The clock is the time, okay, Well, even though you're arahan, for arahana, they won't deny the conventional truth because the brain still work well. The arahana will never say that time and space doesn't exist. So you just come to see me anytime or anywhere. No, it doesn't happen this way. In the conventional truth, they will follow the conventional truth. Once we go in the deep jhana and vipassana, that situation, that will be different. Then we will deal differently already. Mr. Long, you got it. So if during the stroke you lost this, you will have a bad communication with the people. Why? Because your time and space are confused already. The spoil and damage is in a normal situation in the Newton's law world. It's not in the quantum physics world. You see. So the people will be very frustration due to the damage of the brain for this part of the brain. So-called the loss of time and the space because how can they communicate with the people? How can they live with us? They don't have the time and space concept. It is spoiled already. Yeah, Mr. Leong, yes.
C4, as I take it, this stroke is what you call, I would term it as uncontrollable. And
yes.
vipassana and samatha is a control state.
Yes. Yes, of course, it's control state. And also, we'll go back to the normal. Once we finish, we don't do the samatha vipassana, we go back to normal. Then I have a time and a space. I can live well with the people surrounding me. Most of the people still with the normal time and the space perception. Right, Mr. Leong? If it is spoiled already, meaning to say you cannot communicate with the people surrounding you already. Right? Okay. So we have to get it right first. So class, next, you see, manas, as the process of subliminal thought, you see, it's go very deep one. You see, organize the data from the six consciousness into a meaningful word and to categorize it, you see or not? So meaning to say that this is how the manas play the role. So once I see the thing, it come in, then we interpret this is a colorful play. Well, you wouldn't say that it is a pen. So that is confusing already. See or not? Everybody will say this is a colorful plate, you see or not? So the manas helps to organize it. So meaning to say the prefrontal cortex try to interpret here. So this part we call it as manas. And the dreaming part also, this part also involved also. This part are also involved in the dreaming. So in our dreaming world, we will see the time, they call the time and the space, but they are distorted. They are distorted. Am I right? Have you ever experienced time, space, everything distorted during the dreaming? Sally, are you experienced that? Yes, yeah. So yes, it's true. So meaning to say that we are in a different world already during the dreaming. See or not? Okay. Then next, let's take a look. You see. Then you say, you see, for this, the manas, they will make us have a meaningful. They categorize it. Then we have both, contain both a correct judgment and the misperception of the reality for both skillful and unskillful karma. So meaning to say that this is where the conventional truth arises. This misperception of the reality comparatively, class. For this word, okay, Sally is a truth. I call you Sally also is a truth because it's a conventional truth. But from the ultimate truth perspective, Sally doesn't exist. Even though the name, the whole body is Sally doesn't exist. But that is we call it as ultimate truth. But conventional, yes, Sally still exists. So meaning to say our manas build up our world conventionally. Yeah, Sally, any question? Yes.
No, my phone got problem.
Okay. I got problem.
I cannot.
Okay, I got it. Okay. So next, let's take a look. You see, which are generated by the volition, accompany the six consciousness. See or not? Then later on, we have a volition. Class, this is the volition. You see here, the volition starting here. So meaning to say that after we categorize the word already, you see or not? Yeah, after this, okay, see or not? We interpret that, oh, this is the pen already. Then maybe you start to think about, I want to steal the pen. Okay, so this is a deeper part who start the relation. Okay, then next, let's see. Okay, okay. Then he said that this what we call as afflicted mind. Manas and the six consciousness are only the surface only. Class, you see, Manas is also considered as a surface already. It's also in the surface. But they say which is active and oriented towards object. This is very active. This is dome, an additional egg form. We start to come up to this, you see, alaya vijnana. So alaya vijnana as a wave or related to the ocean. See or not? So meaning to say that whatever happened, it is like an ocean. Okay, it happens in the surface of the brain. But alaya consciousness is in the deeper part. So class, I think besides just now I mentioned, is involved is the amygdala, hippocampus, and maybe stem brain also involved. So meaning to say that not one part of the brain. I try to make some reconciliation, analogy. So usually it's in the deep of the brain, but not only one part. Maybe to explain it better, we have to include the stem brain also. So this a few part of the brain inside, they will help the alaya consciousness to play its roles. See now. Then next, let's take a look. Okay, then you say asanka equates the alaya with the minor Abhidhamma Sutra called the RAM. You see or not? It call it as a RAM without beginning in the time. See or not? So meaning to say if the alaya is beginning without beginning in time. So class, if without beginning in the time alaya, we interpret as the brain or out of the brain already. Elena, what do you think? Out of the brain or within the brain? If we say alaya is without the beginning of the time. Samantha, what do you think? Is within the brain or out of the brain already? At this context.
Out of the brain.
Yes, out of the brain. Elena, you are so decisive. How come you're confused now? Yes, this is out of the brain already. You see, we begin without the beginning of the time. You know? Then next, let's take a look. Okay. Yeah, it is similar to the Theravada Bhavanga, except the alaya is seems to be simultaneous with the other form of the consciousness. Bhavanga is the intermediate resting. So during we are sleeping, so Bhavanga appeared. But the alaya is a simultaneous with other form of consciousness. It happens simultaneously. So this is okay. For this sentence, can we try to connect the brain? Still can, right? So we can explain better with this part. Okay, next, let's take a look. We go to when a person perform action. Then, yes, Elena, can you please read it? When a person.
When a person performs actions or karmas, traces are left on his unconscious. Seeds of the future karmic sink into the alaya, a receptacle which actively stores them, ready to later mature. The alaya consists of a series of chittas accompanied by karmic seeds and the seeds of potential defilements and memories. These all reproduce themselves over time, thus accounting for the continuity of personality through the death and periods of unconsciousness when the 7 active consciousness are absent. The alaya is also said to contain some intrinsically pure seeds, the source of religious striving. They arise from the profound depths of the alaya, the param alaya or alaya, which is beyond. In the Shalom school, the earliest Chinese version of the Yogacara, this is designated as a 9th immaculate consciousness. This school saw the immaculate consciousness as beyond the dualism of subject and object, existence and non-existence, and as the Dhamma Dhatu and the Dhamma Ram principle, or as thusness, equivalent to emptiness and nirvana. It is also regarded as beyond the individual consciousness and as a universal reality which lies within all beings. The other Yogacara school in China, the Faxian, saw immaculate consciousness as simply the alaya when freed of the defiled aspects of it. Alaya acts as the basis of the active consciousness by actually projecting them out of itself. The Yogacara then regards a person's perception of the world as a product of unconscious mind. This notion is related to the observation that in any situation, we only really notice what our mind is attuned to perceive. Be this something that interests us, threatens us, excites us, or disgusts us. We only get edited highlights of the possible field of perception. What we perceive is clearly related to our nature, which is the product, among other things, our previous actions. That perception is not just a question of passively seeing what is there, is demonstrated by the many examples in psychology books on perceptions of ambiguous figures that can be seen in different ways. It is also illustrated by the way in which one may take some time to recognize the object of a photograph taken at an odd angle or in odd lighting. Once it is seen, though, it is hard not to recognize it. The Yogacaras emphasize this kind of thing to such an extent that perception is regarded as essentially a process of imagining, in which the mind generates mental constructions that are perceived as the world.
Okay, thank you so much. Elena can stop. Play paragraph already. Okay, raise hand please once you finish. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So class, now we go to the perception of the seed. It's not difficult. We talk about that before. Class, you see, once we see the colorful plate, so it will reflect in our brain, see or not? And then during our last time, 1,000 years ago, they label it as a seed and plant inside to the storage consciousness. So nowadays, class, you see, we try to use our modern science. For example, it's the brain, okay? The brain. Store memory. Okay, so let's take a look. So which part of the brain? Here, let's see. Store the memory is meaning to say it's the between neurons across the various. You see, hippocampus handle memory consolidation for short term to the long term, blah 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 blah, and the amygdala. See or not? Hippocampus, amygdala. Okay, just roughly only. And then the cerebellum store specific information. Cerebellum is the small brain here, the cerebellum. Okay, so roughly it's quite same. So meaning to say that in Buddhism we say we stored it in the alaya consciousness, meaning to say that nowadays this a few part they will take part for the memory. Okay. And then when it's stored as a seed, we consider it as a seed. So sometimes the seed, it's just like I say, like just now, example, Sally saw the pen and she's very touching. Then because this is the childhood memory, Sally decide that next time when she met us, so she will give everybody one pen. You see, this one will be stored inside the hippocampus. Okay, or in our memory part. Then later on, when Sally saw us, so this seed will come up. We trigger it come up, especially once we talk about the pen. Maybe the pen is not a good example. I think the good example is the cake, right? Or Sally, before, in Wolf, in the temple job, he made the cake from dawn to the dusk, right? Mr. Leong, maybe the cake is the good example. So Sally, once you're free, we talk about the cake. So same thing about, I should make cake. Long time I didn't make the cake. I should make some more cake again, the pure butter cake to me, okay. Then you see, so from the storage it come out already. Then Sally make a cake again, okay. Then a lot of successful this one store back inside your brain again, okay? When you store back again, and then sometimes during the dreaming or during meditation, it will come up with the successful of making the bread. Then Sally decide, I want to open a bakery shop. See, this thing will happen and keep on, right? So meaning to say that our brain will always reproduce the new thing based on our old information. We call it as a seed. We keep on to produce new thing, produce the new thing. Of course, once Sally talk about this, so Elena fully disagree. They say you should meditate instead of making the bread, right? Not instead of baking the cake. So this information again will be brought again. Okay, so finally, Sally, you give up. So this seed will no more in the brain. We know more in the brain. And then this seed play very important role in Mahayana, especially for the repentance. It is a neutral thing, right? Or maybe consider it's a good action. But if you do some bad action, it's already planted in the brain. So what to do? Repentance. So always in Mahayana we say that repentance is the action to brush, to clean all the karma. That is the meaning here. Okay, of course, whether it's effective or not effective, you must have a feeling of the remorse. You must have the feeling of remorse so that previously maybe you steal the pen from somebody. Or maybe Sally, you stole a cake recipe from in my temper, okay, so you feel regret now. So you have to repent. So you repent, you must feel the remorse, okay. Once you see the cake bowl, the cake recipe, or you feel so sorry regarding that, then you start to cry, and then at the same time you chant the Buddha name. Then you try to imagine that all this have become a dust, a defiled water, and flow out from the body, from the heart chakra, and come out from the bottom of the leg. See or not? This is why we try to imagine all the bad deeds become the dirty water and flow out from the body, and we imagine that the light from the Buddha with chanting him and go into our storage consciousness and flush it, so that this seed no more influence us. Because when you're baking the cake, because the recipe is a stolen recipe from my temple, you always you're successful, maybe accompanied by the guilty. The cake is good, but actually it's from a stolen recipe. You feel guilty, right? So that's why in order to remove the guilty, that is the repentance we try to do. And it will integrate very well in our eight consciousness. So you see, so we go back to our text. Let's take a look. So this is our text. So it mentioned that the Yogacara start to try to talk about this, you see. You see, when a person do the action, we talk about the seed, we will plant into the alaya. Just now we mentioned already. So this will be karma seed of potential defilement or the memory. It could be the potential memory, like Sally, I decide want to open a bakery shop. It could be a memory, it could be a potential defilement. You want to sell something. You see, you can producing them over again, and then you see the accounting for the continuity of the personality through the depth and the period of unconsciousness when the seven active consciousnesses are absent. So you see all the consciousness, they're absent. So this is the one who decide our next life. Okay, class, remember, once we die, for the eight consciousness is said that because during our lifetime, for example, Sally, okay, you die maybe today, okay. So for the past 16 years, there will be a few things, very strong seed in your life consciousness. They are the one who create your next future life. For example, if maybe a big involving in the temple work is the more habitual karma for you. So finally you reborn, become a human again. Sally, okay. And then maybe also, if let's say your meditation karma is more stronger, you might be reborn as a Deva again. Okay, so that will be different. So actually the perception same with the Bhavanga, but just here we are using alaya consciousness. That's all. Okay. And next, let's take a look. Okay, and then you see here, according here, alaya contain a lot of pure seed, and this is very profound depth in our alaya. So class, here they got the saloon school. They notice, I think, maybe in the meditation experience, they notice that once they attain to the nibbana, you feel that it should be another one more consciousness called as a night consciousness, further than eight consciousness, because they feel that after the eight consciousness, the cultivation, the eight consciousness contain all the defilement, both good and the bad. Once the alaya consciousness have been purified again, another state will appear. So they label as a number 9 consciousness in Saloon school in China. It's one of the Abhidhamma school in Chinese. But for Faxian, Xuanzhuang, they think no, there's no such thing as the night consciousness, but just the alaya have been purified already. It still is the eight consciousness, but which has been purified. Because when it purify, it will become Tathagata Gaba treasury. See or not? Tathagata treasury, meaning to Tathagata Gaba, Gulai Zhang. Okay, so this is what's happening here. Then you say, what is alaya? You say alaya is projecting them out of itself. Basically, it project ourselves. Then he said it's the in Yogacara school, our perception world is the product of an unconscious mind. You see another class. So this is a sentence just I mentioned that There will be two ways to interpret. Unconscious mind. It could be that the word, you see, one person perception, our perception, how we see the world is because of the unconscious mind. Because in our unconscious mind, we have a lot of memory inside. So for somebody, once they talk about marriage, wow, some will say that marriage is beautiful. Some will say marriage is a graveyard. Why? Why the word is so different? Even same word, we call it as a marriage. The reason is they have a different experience during their childhood. So this is how we say that the unconscious mind will determine the world in our brain. You see or not? Then you see we only know this what our brain is attuned to perceive only. You see, it could be something interests us, threatens us, or disgusts us, but we don't realize that actually previously a lot of seed planted into our brain already. Okay, so we can here take one more science experiment. Then it says, you see, finally, in which the mind generates mental construction that are perceived as the world. It's the mind ourselves generated. You see, again, class, Yogacara emphasizes this kind of such thing. This kind of such thing is according to the example. You see, once it is seen, it is hard not to recognize it. Okay, the example, okay, Sally, okay, if you come to me, if I come to ask me, would you like a cup of a coffee? Then I say, what does that mean, Sally? You ask me on the mic, Sally. I said, it means what?
Wait.
No, I said I want 5 cup. See or not? Okay, so Sally, when you get the I want 5 cup, so when you seen it as a 5 cup, or maybe you seen it as a weight, always you think that yes, you are waiting for my further request. See or not? So that's the meaning here. So how do we interpret the word? It depends on individual. See, the mind generates mental construction that are perceived as our word. This is the world we generated. So everybody actually Sally, when you ask everybody actually want 5 cup. But for Sally, we think that everybody just what I'm just waiting I'm just waiting answer from everybody. See or not? You would think in this way, everybody actually want 5 cup of the coffee, but for you, you will see, it means wait. So I just wait only. See or not? So the word is very different already. Get it? Okay. Okay, one more question first. Okay. Class, until now, you think that alaya consciousness it is an more advanced explanation from our citta compared to the Abhidhamma? You think yes, vote number 1. You think no, vote number 2. Is this system is a further explanation? Yeah, may you vote 2. Yes, further. Sally 1. Mr. Leong 1. Elena 1. How about Samantha? Don't know what to vote. Neither one. Okay. Well, the way I see it, actually, it is a more advanced explanation. It go to the 7 and 8 consciousness. It is more deeper, actually. Why? The reason that because you see in Abhidhamma, we didn't talk about where we keep the memory in the Bhavanga. Right? Not and how all this the karma come up, create again. No explanation in our Abhidhamma. But here, alaya consciousness is very good. 1,000 years ago, people noticed that they use the seed as an information. It start to plant to the brain, in the mind. The brain, they use the word as a mind, and the seed as an information. And then these seeds will come up and come back again. This is very good way to explain, to talk to the people in that time. So actually, this is more advanced explanation because Dharma keep on progress in Indian. But in Theravada, when you reach to Sri Lanka, it stopped developing already. It stopped. But in India, they keep on develop. So from Nikaya developed to the Abhidhamma, and Abhidhamma it developed again to the Mahayana. And Mahayana it begin with the Madhyamika, then go to the Yogacara, and then lastly you go to the Tathagata tradition. Then it is the Tibet, is the Vajrayana. It's keep on developing. So the later usually explanation is more complete. Okay, see or not? Yes, Mr. Leong, any question? On the mic again. Mr. Leong, on the mic. On the mic. Yes.
Yeah, just now like one line can be seen inverted comma in different ways. What do you mean by inverted comma seen?
You mean this one? I see it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me check for you. Okay. The perception, not just the question, passively seeing what is there, is demonstrated, for example, in psychological book or psychology book of ambiguous figure that can be seen in the different way. Oh, I see. Hey, Mr. Leong, just now, Sally say, would you like the coffee? So Sally said, wait, but I said 5 cups of the coffee. We see it in a different way. That's the meaning.
Oh, so I can also say that give me a 5 also.
Yes.
Give me a 5.
Yeah. But Sally said, wait, but I said, no, it's a sin. It's a sin. So meaning to say that if Sally see in the different way from the way I want to put it. Get it or not? Okay. Yeah, so that is the meaning here. So you see, class, if you really go to study, compare Abhidhamma with this explanation is better to tell to the people that, the cultivation, and then we go to our deeper brain, to the consciousness, then we try to purify the consciousness, and then it will become a Buddhahood, or the Buddha mind. But just the thing is, after the explanation for this, later on there must be the way to for the how to say how to say, because actually until now we already have a very clear method of the establishment of the karma for the yogacara already, very clear already, right now, the establishment of the karma, right? And then from the karma, the reincarnation also. So meaning to say, this is, we call it as how the circle of the reincarnation explained already. But after you explain the circle of the reincarnation, you have to tell people how to end the reincarnation, right? Not then should be more complete. In Abhidhamma, it's very complete. After they tell you how to establish the karma in our mind, and then later on they will tell you how to eradicate the reincarnation through the 7 through the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So later on, in next lesson, we expect, hopefully, the Yogacara will be using their own way to tell us how to end this type of the karma. Yeah, Mr. Leong, any question? Yes.
Sifu, regarding this alaya store consciousness is present in the Mahayana philosophy, but is it present in the Theravada tradition?
No. Theravada, they developed until to the Bhavanga only. Remember or not? Mr. Leong, just now I mentioned already, it doesn't exist in the Theravada tradition because Theravada, they already living the Indian continent before 3rd century. And then this alaya consciousness it began in the 3rd or 4th century. See or not? So meaning to say, when the Theravada, they are living Indian continent, so another 500 years for the establishment for this school. So of course they don't have. See or not? Mr. Leong, get it?
But then the thing is, Sifu, no doubt they did not specify as alaya store consciousness, but then they talk about manas. They store in the manas or whatever.
Again, what's the question again?
No, the thing is they do not use the word alaya store consciousness, but they use a lot of word manas.
No, okay. We see the manas. Actually, the alaya we also see in the Nikaya also, but they don't further develop it or make it a more complete and more comprehensive theory. So, Mr. Leong, we can say so. Meaning to say that it just very, how to say, it's just in a very primary stage only. For the Theravada and the Sarvastivada regards this concept. But more comprehensive of the theory only complete is about 3rd and 4th century in Indian. Okay, Mr. Leong, get it or not? So that's why once you study just the Nikaya only, you cannot get a full picture But you study this, the picture is more complete. Okay, get it, Mr. Leong? Okay. Actually, no matter
yes.
how, our purpose to learn this is once we have a clear, we know things happen, how the karma create in our brain. Then finally, the purpose is how shall we clear all the bad karma and create more good karma. I think that is the major purpose. Am I right? Okay. So, class, shall I know that are you having a more clear picture and more confident in terms of our karma, in our alaya consciousness, and do repentance over it? Do you have more clearer picture? Yes, please probably have. Clearer picture, Sally? Okay, yes. Elena, yes. How about Mr. Leo? You get a clearer picture for you? Yeah, Mr. Leo? Okay, maybe they're gone already. Okay, good lah. Yes, okay, very good. So, so we finish our class for today. So we in the next lesson, let's take a look. What are we going to learn in the next lesson? Is regards this. Okay, yeah, they tell you the mechanics. I think later on, they will start to explain regards how the meditation work possible. Usually, it should go in this way lah. Okay, yes, okay. So we transfer the merit. Okay, please palms together. I wish to inculcate
I wish to inculcate
more favorable consciousness
more favorable
Favorable consciousness
through transferring merit
through
Through
transferring merit
to my past life enemy and relative.
to my
past
past
life
life,
enemies
enemy,
and
and
enemies.
May they be liberated
May they be liberated
liberated
and free from suffering.
and
and
free
and
from
free
from
from
suffering.
suffering,
Attain Nibbana
Attain
Nibbana.
Nibbana
nirvana,
and helping others to do the same.
and
and
helping
helping
others
others to do the
the
same.
same.
Yes, may ye please.
Thank you for Sifu teaching us. Now we give I don't know for Sifu Sadhu.
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 Bye bye.